The Godfather is one of the greatest and most iconic movies of all time. But have you ever wondered what The Godfather would look like if the characters had magic powers? Well, Fonda Lee did, and she wrote Jade City. Let's talk about it. Jade City is an urban fantasy novel which follows the Kaul family. The Kauls are one of several powerful crime syndicates, though they're not really criminals in the story, but more on that a bit later. Anyway, these so-called Greenbone clans control the magical jade that grants them superhuman abilities. I won't go into spoilers, but as you might expect from this type of story, the plot revolves around a clan war that's brewing between two of the families. Like I said in the beginning, it is basically The Godfather, but with magic. And most of the similarities between the two stories are in this category. Both stories center around a powerful crime family navigating both internal and external threats. The Kaul family in Jade City and the Corleone family in The Godfather both face challenges in maintaining their dominance while dealing with rival factions. When it comes to characters, both stories feature similar archetypes. In The Godfather, Michael Corleone is reluctantly pulled into the family business and struggles with his role. In Jade City, Lan, Hill and Shay each have different views on how to lead the family, which basically mirrors the push and pull between the old ways and the new. But more on the characters a bit later. Loyalty and family are at the heart of both stories, but they also lead to heartbreak. Both worlds operate under strict codes of loyalty, honor and duty. The Greenbone clans follow their code of Aisho, much like the Sicilian mafia has its own rules of conduct. Brutal violence, assassinations, political maneuverings, betrayals, power plays, they all play a big role in both stories. Just like The Godfather's iconic restaurant hit and the Tollbooth ambush, Jade City has intense clan warfare and shocking deaths as well. Foreign influence also plays a big role. In The Godfather, American capitalism threatens the old school mafia ways, while in Jade City, foreign corporations and countries who want their jade supplies challenge the traditional Greenbone values. Overall, I'll give the plot a 6 out of 10. The world building and the magic system are one of the two areas where this story shines in my opinion. And this is obviously where Jade City is different from The Godfather, which, as you may know, doesn't have magic in it. Jade City is set in the island nation of Kekon. Kekon is the only known country that has access to bioenergetic jade. This jade is worn by the so-called Greenbone warriors, and wearing it gives them power in 6 different disciplines: strength, steel, perception, lightness, deflection, and channeling. However, after touching jade, most people would develop drug-like overdose or drug-like withdrawal symptoms, eventually leading to their insanity and death. Only the Kekonese people have the genetic ability to tolerate jade, and only after undergoing rigorous training. As you can see, this is a hard magic system, and I love me some hard magic systems. The magic system is relatively simple, but the way it's integrated into the society is truly amazing. I won't go into too many details, that will make the video way too long, but suffice it to say, the way the magic system is integrated into the society, the culture, the economy, people's everyday lives is top notch. I mentioned before that despite functioning like the mafia, the clans in Jade City aren't criminals. They are a natural part of Kekonese society, and that really makes sense for the world that Fonda Lee has built, because the world building is perfect. 10 out of 10 for me. This is the second area where this story shines in my opinion. The character work is amazing. Each character is truly unique, distinctive, with their own personalities, quirks, behaviors, flaws, and they are all believable and act as real people. The book spends some time developing each character even before the plot really gets going. Because of that, each decision the characters make makes sense for their character, their personality, their story. Truly amazing. I mentioned that the world building is truly deep, but the book doesn't really focus on world building or showing off the magic system like other books would. Instead, it focuses on developing each character, and through them we get glimpses of the world and learn details about how the magic works. But the focus is still on the characters, and the story is so much richer for it. The only negative thing I can say about the characters in this book is that it feels like it follows the example set by The Godfather. Like, you have to have the old boss who built the family up, you have to have a character trained to eventually take over the family, the one who is reluctant about joining the family business, etc. But these criticisms are just surface level. A story about organized crime is bound to have these archetypes, so to say. And like I said, each character is really developed, so I have no problem with the fact that these characters are similar to others we've seen before. 9 out of 10. The writing is great in my opinion, it flows really well. I never felt that it dragged on or focused too much on descriptions or that I couldn't figure out what the author was trying to say. I'm not saying the writing is simple, but as a non-native English speaker, sometimes when the writing is too flowery and the metaphor is too complex, I can find it a bit difficult to figure out what exactly the author is trying to convey. That doesn't happen here. I only have one teeny tiny criticism about the writing. Sometimes this book jumps POV characters in the same scene. Let me see if I can explain what I mean. Usually, books follow a character's POV. Some books have one character POV, others have multiple, and these are the main characters. When we follow a character's POV, we, the readers, see, notice, feel, learn everything that the character we are following does alongside him. We see his perspective. But this book jumps POVs from time to time. We'll start a scene following one character, but we'll suddenly shift to the other character in the same scene and get their POV, learn how they feel. It's like the narrator that tells us the story knows what's going through each character's heads at the same time, and they're telling us about them both. I'm not sure I have encountered this technique before. Maybe I have, but I really noticed it here. It's really not a big deal though, it's just something that I noticed and found interesting. The writing gets an 8 out of 10. Concepts as a category is pretty important to me. You see, when I'm reading fantasy and sci-fi books, I want to scratch this itch that I have for exploring different worlds. I want to encounter some truly original concepts, something that will make me feel excited to read more about and find out more about it, something I haven't seen before, be that the creative magic system or some epic advanced sci-fi technology. Unfortunately, I didn't get that in this book. But this is a character story first. They were developed so well that I felt no need, no desire for such truly original concept, no itch to scratch if you will. And the world building is done extremely well, so I did get some satisfaction to that need to explore different worlds. So I'm gonna give this category a 6 out of 10. There you have it. If you take the Godfather and you add magic, you get Jade City by Fonda Lee. My overall score is 7.8 out of 10. This was a really cool story, you should read it, especially if you love The Godfather like I do. Fonda Lee, well done. For me personally, this is a book that I would definitely read again, and I'm gonna move on to the next book in the series, Jade War. And consider subscribing, if you wanna hear me talk about fantasy and sci-fi stories. See you in 2 weeks. Peace!